What is this? You need to reach 1,000 subscribers? Do you think you deserve the honor of having 1,000 subscribers, would-be hero?
Yeah, what makes you so freaking special that I should subscribe to your freaking channel, hero?
Yeah, he's right. I mean, come on. What have you done for me lately?
Seems kinda suspicious playing all these old games on a modern machine instead of playing some kind of modern game you ain't played before.
I suppose if you truly plan to help the people of Moldavia, I suppose we can take a moment to check out your channel and see what it's all about. Maybe then I'll decide, no? He seems like a nice enough fellow. Why, he even does little introductions on some of his newer videos, it seems. Fine. Yes. So let's see this channel of yours. We need to know the URL of your channel, hero. Oh, I see. It is quite easy to remember. www.youtube.com at Let's Play Sierra Games.
The people of Mordavia gather around the mystical square that begins playing the channel of Let's Play Sierra Games. They are entertained. Well, I must say, that was much better than I had thought it would be. I do say I would highly recommend this channel to anyone I met.
Yes, a rather funny little channel. I would say anyone who is here should definitely like and give the hero a subscribe at the channel as well.
The channel's even kids safe. The hero doesn't even say bad words or anything. He even fights off the scary darkness like a good hero should.
Igor maybe not the one everyone think is smart, but even Igor know how to subscribe. Not doing so is a grave mistake. That's a little graveyard humor right there.
Even I think this channel is a thing of beauty, and there are few things I find as beautiful as me. And maybe, just maybe, this channel comes pretty close. So yes, you should subscribe, or feel the gypsy curse upon you.
Besides, the hero has made so many videos and spent so much time making all of these wonderful videos he shares with everyone. He does it to bring light to the dark world. Also, like all growing heroes, he can definitely use the reward offered by reaching 1,000 subscribers.
And we're back. We awaken from Arana's peace after not such a great sleep. Because we wake up in a cold sweat. We remember the really bad dream, which seems to keep happening. At this point, you would think that the hero would be more like myself and just suffer from insomnia, because sleeping does not seem to be a really great option. I will say in this one, I did move around much more, so we got more of the map laid out, and a bunch of the people that we need to help, we've finally managed to help, so we're going to see much more than just aimlessly wandering. I mean, there will be aimlessly wandering, but we're going to get stuff done this time. Because that's what heroes do, or, that's what they should try to do. And so far I've released the commentary for part 1 and part 2 out of 5, because this gameplay was so long. And it's gotten a few views, not as many as I would like. It's gotten a few likes, not as many as I would like, but that's okay. But no one has answered the question about the hawk that we constantly see, that constantly lands. So if you know about the hawk that's in this game, if there's anything you can do with the hungry hawk, I'm just going to say it now, early into the video, in case someone is like, oh, I don't want to watch 2 hours. If you know about the hawk, and there is something to the hawk, please say it in the comments. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, you've not played Quest for Glory 4, or you've not watched part 1 and part 2 of my commentary, where I obsess over this hawk that keeps landing near us. Because we just killed a Vorpal Bunny, I just walked off that screen. But it feels like the Hungry Hawk could eat the Vorpal Bunny. So it feels like if you slay the Vorpal Bunny and you wait for the Hungry Hawk, see if maybe it shows up, I don't know, or the hawk is just there to distract me as it is done, because I absolutely obsess over why this hawk is flying around and landing, as if we can do something with it. Alright, so if you recall last time, we found Igor in his grave. They were accusing the gypsy, and we were able to find Igor, prove that it was not the gypsy. So now that we've returned to the gypsy camp, we see that we're not being greeted by wolves, but actually the gypsy who had been accused of turning into a werewolf and potentially killing Igor. So henceforth, we are now considered friends of the gypsies. And he says, hey, come talk to the leader of the camp. So he heads up towards that nice purple wagon, and we're going to do the same. And so she mentions that we have saved her son, and we also fearlessly entered into the den of wolves. We are clearly a man of great courage. Well, yes, my name is Valor the Victorious, so of course there is courage in my veins. And so she says, welcome, I am the fortune teller. Because how she dressed doesn't make it obvious. And then she says she'll teach us a spell. And now we know the spell known as Aura. And come to think of it, I don't know if I ever used the Aura spell either. So if you know what the Aura spell is for, if there was a place to use it to find something that may be hidden or whatever, let me know in the comments, because I don't recall using the Aura spell. I mean, I played this a few weeks ago. It's been so hot here in San Diego that my office/man cave is like an inferno. So I've taken a while to do the commentary. I think I did the first two last weekend or the weekend before, and now here we are on Sunday, and I'm trying to knock out another one, because it is the heat is broke, so it is a little bit more bearable in my room. And this time there's not even a fan blowing in my room. I think in the first two I had a fan blowing because it was so hot, and you can hear it a little bit in the microphone. Even though I had the fan tilted away, I was just trying to cycle some air in the room. And so we tell her about the dark cave and how we escaped, and we're basically telling her about our stuff and some of the things that we've done. And so she says it's best not to speak of that cave. It has brought you here for an unknown purpose. And then we tell her about the frightening dreams we've been having, and she says dreams are messages. And so here in a moment we'll be getting our fortune told by her. And so she basically says, as you dream more, this dream that you're having may become more and more clear, and that's exactly what happens. Is that as you sleep, you're getting more and more of this dream, which is why I said in the previous, it was either part 1 or part 2, I said it's actually good to sleep at Arana's Peace, or right outside where Arana's staff is in Mordavia, so that you can get more and more of the story out of doing that versus sleeping in the inn. And then we're asking about how to save the Rulsuka, and it says we must take a piece of her hair and find out who it is that murdered her, and then beat the broom on the murderer's grave. So now we know we need to go get a broom. This act is very dangerous. If the ghost of the murderer rises, it will attack you. You must be ready to destroy it. So now we have a way to save the Rulsuka, because we've been going back and forth trying to save her, saying that, there's something we might be able to do. And then the last thing we must do is give the spirit something she truly desires. And so she explains she's been gifted with true sight and foreknowledge, and that she's seen her own death and know her true love's death the day I met him. So that is something that's quite horrible to live with, I imagine, knowing your own death. If you're familiar with the Dragonlance series, there is a character named Raceland whose eyes are hourglasses, and he essentially sees something very similar. And then now she's going to read our fortune, and says, no fortune is fixed. The cards to show the future that can happen, but only if you take the actions to create this future. And she explains that the valley here is basically a nexus of power, and that the gypsies often come back here to replenish their power. And that it was all created by Arana. And unfortunately, naturally, where you create something, there's always evil that is drawn to it, and so that is what has happened. And that the magic in this land has been twisted and there is much danger around you. And finally we learn that Anna is a powerful magician who actually came from this area. There is a garden forest which she created, and we've already been there, and that it is a fine resting place. And that she explains her staff stands in the town as a protection for those within the walls. So the fortune teller has a lot of information about Anna, which finally, after 4 games, we're truly learning more about her, because we first learn about her in the first Questful Glory game. And so the gypsy fortune teller essentially confirms that they are indeed creatures of the night, shapeshifters, and that the werewolf is but a folktale. We change the shape when we choose, not because of the moon phase. We are the beast with the mind of the man. So, essentially confirms that they are indeed all werewolves, and those were not just wolves we saw when we first entered the gypsy camp in the other 2 parts. And she explains, it's not normal for our way to speak so freely to outsiders. Why do I say so much to you? Because you need to know the enemies. And so she explains she's willing to speak open and honestly to help, because she knows that everything that the hero is going to do will have a rippling effect. So she gives her name as Magda and calls us a Gorgio, and they explain that a Gorgio is someone who is not a part of the gypsies. So any person outside of the gypsy clan is a Gorgio. And then she also explains that technically they are not werewolves, they are simply shapeshifters. They use the wolf form for their hunting. And we learn that gypsies have 2 names. They have the name that they give to the Gorgio, and then they have their true gypsy name, which no one truly ever shares. And we learn that Davy, as he is so called, the reason he'd been caught is he was trying to get some corn from the corn stalks, and the Burgermeister and some townspeople came out and captured him because they believed that he had also taken and killed Igor. But again, Igor was not killed. Igor was actually fell into a grave and had a tombstone fall on top of him. So we found him, moved the tombstone, and got him out. Alright, so we paid the fortune teller for our fortune, and I'm just going to fast forward through this because it is pretty long. Alright, so the final card is the Void, and she says about this card, I cannot speak, I must meditate to understand its meaning. It's up to you to determine the effect it will have upon you. So that was the really long reading, but it's actually pretty cool if you do watch the regular version, or if you've played the game. I like the subtlety of what these cards are actually implying. And Davy says, well, since you're done with talking, you'll be a guest today for helping save them, and that they hope you enjoy the hospitality of their people. And the gypsies seem to have gone all out to welcome you to their camp. You've eaten rich, spicy stew with no garlic, with fresh bread and plenty of drink. Now it's time to relax and enjoy. And Davy tells you to go join in the dance. And you pretty much just stand there watching her dance around you. And you can see wolves all around, and she takes form into a wolf and decides to lick you. And you take a little nap near the fire pit, sinking into a deep and dreamless sleep. Alright, so we're done with the gypsies for now. We'll be back a little bit later. You can keep coming back and getting your fortune told by the fortune teller, and keep getting new information. So by going back, Davy welcomes you. He comes out of his wolf form to say hello. And the thing is, I'm not trying to actually enter the wagon. There was that thing by the wagon. I was just trying to see if that was something I could get to. So at least while Davy's out here, he may provide new information. So we're going to ask him about dancing. And he talks about how great it is and how life is sweet. He explains that hunting has been poor lately. Alright, so now we have a few things to do. For example, we know about the Rulsuka. So we know if we can get a strand of her hair, and I think I've already bought the broom from the general store, so I think I'm set with that. But if we can get a sample of her hair, we can begin the process that will essentially free her from the curse of being a Rulsuka. Gonna fast forward through this fight. And by traveling on the eastern side of the map, we're now seeing something else new. We see several bushes here, and they seem to be sitting rather than growing. There are 6 of them. They all look very odd, but we notice that one of them keeps moving, so let's go see what's in it. And we hear a giggle from behind the bush, then a squeaky voice asks, 1 and 1 and 1 makes 3. Tell me what you make of me. reading, writing, riddling game. Can you tell me what's your name? And then pretty much we got a couple of guesses here. So we know it's not Rumpelstiltskin, we know it's not the Rulsuka, we could be Bushman, we could do a wild guess. But I do think it's funny that Rumpelstiltskin is in there as a reference to King's Quest. So the one logical choice is either going to be Leshy, which sounds like a name, or Bushman. So we're going to go with the actual name. So we tell it that it's called Leshy, and that's the price for too much fame. Now you've gone and guessed my name. So now the bushes disappear. And he appears. And he asks us basically if we can solve the riddle every time. So I'm guessing every time we come through here, he'll have a different riddle. And we'll need to guess it every single time. But after saying that, he just simply disappears and leaves the screen. So let's walk back and see. 6 bushes are there. And just says, yeah, and he leaves. And then he comes back. Just as you exit the screen, so. Now he'll leave to the other side. So if you try to touch it, it says it's just out of your reach. So we already know that it is essentially going to keep moving out of the way. So we're going to try to get fancy and try to grapple hook the thing. And that doesn't seem the best place to try that. So he stays on the other side of the bush no matter what. So we made that bush disappear by touching it. So we'll just go ahead and do that. Make all the bushes he's hiding behind disappear. Again, in case this is the first one you actually stumbled into and have not watched the previous two or any of my videos, and this is just a random video you decided to randomly click on, A, I apologize. B, but also, I am playing this game without a walkthrough, so you will see that I am taking longer to do things because I'm actually playing this without a walkthrough, and just a lot of these games I've played repeatedly. Quest for Glory 4 I actually had not played in a while, so it's been fun replaying Quest for Glory 4, but if you're wondering why I'm not zipping through things, it's because I actually am not using a walkthrough to try to get through the game. I enjoy replaying these games, and for especially the games I've not played in a while like this one, it is almost like playing it for the first time, because I haven't played this probably 5-10 years maybe. However, like Quest for Glory 1 I've played way too many times to probably count. So if you're currently screaming at your screen telling me what I'm supposed to be doing and I'm not doing it, now you know why. I'm not using a walkthrough. However, this is pretty much the definition of insanity. This is exactly what I just did, and I'm trying it again to see if there's any different results. And he just says, oops, hi there. 3 and 3 makes 9 fishy squishy riddles. So he just rambles off another rhyme and then disappears. So clearly whatever we have to do here, as far as I know, not going to get anything done other than just chasing him around the different bushes, so we're just going to move on. Alright, so it's another combat, and you can see that I've done the remote to speed it up from the original gameplay, because the original gameplay was like 16 hours. And apparently YouTube has a limit of 12, and it's either 12 or 11, so I actually had to speed up a bunch of the video. So I took all the combat that I engaged in and basically sped it up to make the video shorter to be able to fit the original. And even then it was still just a hair over, so the original non-commentary version is actually split into 2. So then why is the commentary version split into 5? Because that is much easier for me to digest and be able to speak about versus speaking for 11 hours straight or speaking for 5 hours straight for each segment, or 5.5 hours, whatever it is. And so now we're back at the Rulsuka because we have more information. And the attractive but very dangerous Rulsuka appears. And now we know for sure we should have some different dialogue because now we know about the hair and everything else. So oddly enough, even though we know that we need her hair, the dialogue tree is not appearing for us to get her hair. You would think it would appear under the curing Rulsuka tree, but apparently not, so there's maybe something else we need to do. Alright, so we need to find out why the option to get her hair is not available. Alright, so we're now at the grave, or the cemetery I should say. And there was the mention of using the broom on the murderer's grave. So we'll see if that has something to do with it. So this is the Borgov crypt, which we are also going to make our way into. So first, let's check out the crypt, see if that has any clues. There's figures of long departed knights, as well as a grim reaper. Always a welcoming visage. Your danger sense tingles slightly as you enter the dark confines, so not a good vibe going on in here. Oh, so I did use aura, but it just talks about a glow. Okay. Spoiler alert, I already missed the thing on the floor, but we'll come back to it. And that's not the thing on the floor that I'm talking about. You know, I should read what the aura spell does. I wonder if it provides protection against magic, now that I'm thinking of it, like a magical protective aura, at which case, now it's dawning on me if that's the case. At the end of the game is probably where I should have used that spell, because there's a lot of magic flying around at the end of the game, and you'll see that I fail a number of times, and I managed to succeed without doing the aura spell. But yeah, wonder if that's what the aura spell is for. I should have actually looked up what it does. There's a slight bug where you can see that I walked through the back of the wall. I think that's supposed to be the base of the relief. So right now we've pretty much kind of trashed the crypt. So what we're going to do is we're going to restore. Back to where we were speaking with Rulsuka, where we were trying to talk to her to get the hair. Because going in there and then damaging that one skeleton did not feel right. So yeah, let's just restore and make our way back. So we're back in the cemetery. We're going to take a look at some of these graves. Anna walked at night, or kind of saw a final sight. And the question seems to be, what in the world did Tenna see? Tennessee? Get it? Tennessee? Ah, yes. The Coles love their puns. Here lies a body of Carrie Nation, who answered the vampire's invitation. Now there's cause for lamentation. It was a fatal recreation. Here lies the spirit of Barney Blue. To the lover, he was untrue. So we knew just what he would do. Fixed herself a Barney stew. It's pretty grim. The description of the headstone reads, Mikhail Med bumped his head in another man's bed. Now he's dead. R.I.P. This code reads, on a dare, Pasha Sperry spent the night in the cemetery. Something gave him such a fright that now he sleeps here every night. Inscription on door reads, House of Legapo, may she rest forever. Legiapo, maybe. No effort could Elsa save. She passed into a watery grave. Her body was lost, only her memory remained. So now we know her name, Alyssa. So there's a good chance the person next to her is probably the guy. Here lies Janos, faithful forever to his lost true love, laid beside her empty grave. So Janos, we know, according to the Rulsuka, had drowned her. So now we know her name, and now we know his name. So now maybe we can talk to the Rulsuka, get a little more information. But first we're going to head over here. We're going to see if we can talk to Nikolai about the ghost. Talk about Anna. But he says, I don't know what happened to Anna. So maybe we just need to tell him. Tell him about the ghost wife. You start to tell the old man about the ghost you met in the forest. Anna? You've seen Anna. Oh wait, I forgot his voice is Anna. You explain that you saw her ghost in the forest. Anna is in the forest. Where is she? I must go to her. I don't know why I'm trying to make him sound like Sean Connery. You tell Nikolai where you saw Anna, and try to explain that she is dead. Thank you. I cannot thank you enough for finding Anna. I will go to her now. I will help her find her way home. Thank you again. Well, moving at that speed, you can guess if there's something in the forest, he's not going to be able to outrun it. So you can certainly guess the fate that is coming his way. So now we've learned the Rulsuka's name and the Anna quest. We can hope for good old Nikolai and Anna to finally find peace, and they do, just not in the way you would expect. Alright, so let's head for... There's the hawk! There's the hawk that I keep talking about. See how it lands, and if you look at it, it says it's hungry. I don't know what to do with it. So if you know what to do, please let me know in the comments. Alright, so, anyway. We're going to head for the Rulsuka now, because now we know her name, and see if that is going to allow us to do what we need to do about getting her hair and finding a way to help her further to be cured and be free of her curse. There's the hawk again! Combat with the wyvern. Alright, we're back at the Rulsuka Lake. Let's see if we get some change in dialogue. Notice she says, "Hello, have you learned anything new?" And you tell her her true name. And she goes, "Yes, that was my true name. I'm starting to remember things now. I was going to be married. My fiance and I came down to the lake for an evening swim. We were skinny dipping, actually. Then he wanted to, well, you know. But I wouldn't. So he drowned me. He always did have to have low frustration, or he always had a low frustration point. That's how I became Rulsuka. So this guy was going to get married to her and drown her because she would not have sex with him. Now, the thing is, they would have probably celebrated their, ceremony had he just waited and done what he wanted. And so we tell her about the cure and about how we need her hair. And so she says, "Did you learn anything about healing me?" And now we notice the option for hair and fiance are now there. And I love that. She says, "You want some of my hair?" "Sure, I have plenty of it. How do you think I'd look with short hair?" Indicating if she had short hair, obviously it would not cover the front. So I think that's funny that they're asking that, because any man is probably going to say you would look great. So we're going to ask her about skinny dipping. And she says, "I guess I've been skinny dipping ever since. Care to join me?" Alright, so now we have some of her hair. And we know where her horrible fiance was buried. There's the hawk. But fast forwarding. So we're going to make our way back to the cemetery. First, we're going to do a little resting, get some stamina back, because the gypsies did warn us if we awaken the spirit, it is going to attack us. So get some stamina back, then with the stamina back, what we're going to do is basically just heal ourselves up with the healing spell. So thankfully at the shopkeeper, I pretty much bought everything that she sold. And so we have interwoven the Rulsuka's hair with the broom. And now we're going to save, because I don't know how this fight's going to go. Come out, wherever you are. Alright, so I just clicked on the grave and it says that's not the right place. So now I'm not sure where to click. Trying the grave on the ground. It does say the grave, not the tombstone. Questioning my sanity, checking all the other graves. That doesn't do anything useful. And that's certainly his grave that I'm trying to smack. I love that I saved the game. I was so confident, LOL. Because that seems like the right thing to do. The gypsy said take the hair, weave it into the broom, and then smack the grave. But that doesn't seem to be working out for me. And it even says, like, if you click on the wrong grave, you sweep the area clean, perhaps you're doing it on the wrong grave. And that one says that's not the right area to beat the broom. So we'll step off to the side. That doesn't do anything useful. That doesn't do anything useful. That doesn't do anything useful. You sweep the grave clean. Perhaps you've made a grave error. Igor would be proud of that pun. So then I think maybe it has to be at night. So we're gonna rest a little bit. Make it nighttime. And sure enough, that's what it was. I don't recall if the gypsies mentioned that it had to be at night, but there you go. Makes sense that the ghost would only come out at night, because that's what Anna does. Anna only comes out at night, so clearly Janos, I believe his name was, also comes out at night. You have destroyed the untrue lover's ghost and avenged the Rulsuka's memory. Nice work. Alright, so let's head back. And there's Anna. Oh no. Oh no. Nikolai is also a ghost now. Anna says, I've been trying to find you for so long. I've never stopped looking for you, Anna. Never. And he's not lying. And so he has somehow along the way perished as well, and the two embrace. I love you, Anna. I've loved you from the moment you smiled at me, and I will love you for always. Oh, Nikolai, this time we'll always be together. Forever? Forever. And the ghostly apparitions vanish. So we've helped Nikolai by coming out here and finding his own death, apparently. We do not know how Nikolai died, but he did indeed perish. And so Nikolai and Anna are reunited, but we'll see Nikolai again. What? Is he alive? No. We're going to see him as a ghost. We'll end up walking back by here, and I think he has a little bit more information. But first, let's go check out the Rulsuka, who we are out to try to help. The monsters in the area are trying to stop us from getting there, but they are no competition for us. Alright, here we go. We've helped Nikolai and Anna, and now, oh boy. You did it, didn't you? I felt you getting rid of my ex-fiancée. Now I feel strange. What is happening to me? What's going to happen next? And it's interesting that when you see this picture of her, she actually still looks like she has plenty of flesh. So we're going to tell her about Janos. I told you he was a jerk. Janos is a jerk. I remember he even had bad breath. This may be our last goodbye, right? Well, it was nice having a true friend for a while. I'm glad I met you. So that's very sweet of her. I guess I'm afraid of something. I didn't really want to die again. At least I go knowing that someone who really cared about me. I'll never forget you, even if you don't have long to remember. Even if I don't have long to remember you. Goodbye. But she doesn't say. She doesn't go away. So we can ask her, I'm kind of nervous. I don't really want to die, I guess. I still don't really want to hang out. I just don't know what to do or think. You're the hero. You figure out what to do. I trust you. And remember, the gypsies said give her one last thing that she desires, which would be the kiss. You want to kiss me now? Are you sure about this? I mean, it's unlucky to kiss the undead, you know. You could wind up dead or something. And so you make your way out there. You give her a kiss. Reach out and take the once lovely Rulsuka in your arms and kiss her goodbye. You're sweet, you know that? Not many guys would have done this for me. It's funny, isn't it? I always wanted to be kissed by a guy like you. Well, if I gotta go, at least I got my wish. Thanks. And then she says, let's go, lover boy. But then doesn't pull you under. So now we have saved the Rulsuka. So now we've helped Nikolai and we've helped the Rulsuka. So we're finally actually truly beginning to make a lot of progress. And this game is so good in the fact that there are plenty of characters in this game to help out and really feel like you're actually making an impact versus just go kill all these monsters until you reach the final boss. This game puts a lot of heart into all of these characters. It's not just you save the Rulsuka, but you know her story, you know Nikolai and Anna's story, and so these stories that with these characters that you're helping are very heartfelt. So it's a wonderful, wonderful touch, and it's something that I had completely forgotten in Quest for Glory 4. Like, I forgot how well written this game is. It is truly probably the best of the series. I mean, I really, really enjoyed Quest for Glory 3, but this Quest for Glory 4 really yanks at the heartstrings in the people that you're helping. And once again, another fight. And another victory. And there's Nikolai and Anna. We can go back one last time to thank you for reuniting us. Yes, thank you so much. Without your help, I would have been lost forever. I do not know how we can help you. This is the last you'll ever see of us. Is there anything we can do for you? Please ask. We waited so that we could thank you. You have saved our deaths from being endless and meaningless. She says, I've been lost so long, I don't know how I can help you. Perhaps you can talk to my friend Olga. She knows everything that goes on in town. She married Borisovich, who owned the shop. Then Anna, who has clearly been dead for a while, says she did. She is such a lovely girl. I'm sure they're happy together. And technically they're not, because we know that Boris left her. So really quick we can see the help, and then just below that is the hat. So he's heard of a stranger moving into Borgov Castle. And we kind of already know that from Boris as well. So he does say there is a secret passageway there, so that is something we did not really know. So let's ask him about some rumors. And there was talk about vampires at one time. And he says, my grandfather once told me that there is a secret passage that leads from the Barrow Crypt, where we were before, in the cemetery to the castle. It was an escape route that the Borgov family would use when they were alive. It's funny because in my D&D game I'm running right now, they're currently going through a underground cavern to get to a castle that was used in the same manner as an escape route. So let's see what he has to say about the hat. You may of course take my hat. I have no further use of it. Alright, so now we have his hat. And we say farewell, and she says, farewell, may you never be lost, and may you never be lonely. And the two apparitions vanish, and I believe this is the last time we will hear from Nikolai or Anna. So their quest is finally complete as well. And I think this is the one that is the Master Spectre, Wraith, whatever they're called. I think he might be the one, because I'm coming in half health, and you can see my health is rapidly depleting, and I'm not even being hit by him. So I think he's the main one who has something that we need to get, and boom, dead. So before we mess with him, we clearly need to be more health. And I think even just standing in that area was depleting my health, even before I got to him. Now, we don't have a lot of stamina to be healing ourselves, so... The problem is we don't want to rest too much, or else we're going to lose the nighttime where the Spectre will be there. So we don't want to rest too much and make it daylight. So we know we're getting tired, so that means it's roughly around midnight. Alright, so we are fully healed, not fully stamina, but let's do this thing. We're going to save it first, because we can see that he's clearly siphoning our health. I wonder if the aura spell would have protected us from that as well. Things to think about after I've played it. Yeah, see, even before I got to him, the area itself was already siphoning my health away. And I think he's the one who I eventually do defeat. And literally by a hair, because my health bar is pretty much empty. And the area regains some warmth. So if we take a look, I had 2 health left. 2 health left. Barely survived that fight. I think this is the one where I accidentally leave this behind. Because I'm so concerned at the fact that I have no health, barely survived that fight. Yep, and there I go. So he actually has something to loot, but I foolishly walked away before looting it. I will eventually come back, however, and stumble back on that area, and I'll be able to loot it then. So just remember, boys and girls, always loot where the wraiths are. So I just want to get to Arana's piece, because I had no health, and let's get some sleep, and sleep until the morning. That's pleasant. You feel darkness around you, and you remember dying. You are overwhelmed with terror, and you remember running away. So it's a dreadful dream, but hey, it's a new day. As we can see, the bonsai tree down in the lower right-hand corner seems to be doing well. So it's a good thing we brought it here. I actually don't know, other than just bringing it here, what the purpose of it was, because it didn't do too much more. So it's thriving, so that's great. Alright, now it's time to kind of wander around a little bit, figure out what's next, because we know that there is a secret passage from the crypt to the castle. So we know that that is an option. We've helped Anna, we've helped the Rulsuka, or Anna and Nikolai. And there's a hawk! These bushes look as though someone had planted them deliberately. So it looks like someone has planted this to perhaps prevent being able to get near it. The bush won't budge. It's almost as if it was wielded there by magic. Alright, so we need a way to get around it. And, spoiler alert, we will eventually figure out how to get past it. Another fight with a wyvern, and he has poisoned me, which is really the worst thing the wyvern can do, is the poison. But I do feel like poison in Quest for Glory 4 is nowhere near as dangerous as it was in the previous ones. I felt like in the previous ones it was constantly a danger to be poisoned because it ticked away at your health pretty rapidly. There's a hawk. So the wolf is sitting up there, and it seems to be Davy. Try to talk to it, and he seems to growl something about the fortune teller. And so we're going to speak with the fortune teller. We're going to tell her how we saved the Rulsuka and done a few things. And then we're going to get another fortune told, which I am just going to fast forward because, once again, those are kind of long, but if you do watch or if you do play the game, they're actually kind of cool because you can try to guess what each of them is referencing, especially if you've played the game before. You can recognize the references as to who the cards are actually speaking of. So right there is our clue. Bushes here, bushes disappear. This is something that Davy heard. So remember those bushes that I said we need to make a move? Well, we may have just found out what the command is to make those bushes move. Alright, so we've learned that someone with dark magic is seeking revenge, and we will face him again in a struggle to the death. So, someone from our past is going to be involved, and someone who's involved in dark magic. And the dark card for the final one is the Void, which is the influence of the Dark One overshadowing all. No more shall be revealed. These cards have spoken. The reading is done. So, the person from our past have been alluded to several times through these fortune tellings. So I thought that was really, really cool for setting up the story. So that's why I like going back and forth to make sure I'm getting as much of it as I can. Because this game offers so much, and several Sierra games do, but really they went deep with the amount of story they put into this one. And again, I've barely started Quest for Glory 5, just kind of get a feel for it. I've not actually officially started playing it. I just imported my character, started that first screen into combat to see what it was like. And I'm going to say it's going to be very difficult to top Quest for Glory 4. Because the amount of depth that they put into the story, as well as all the characters, as well as the various missions. It isn't just go kill a bunch of bandits like really the first Quest for Glory one was. There was others, side missions to help those in the castle and stuff. But this one you're helping way more many people, and it's a way deeper story. So they really did an amazing job with Quest for Glory 4. And my point is, pretty sure this is the favorite of my series now, easily. And I don't think everyone I've asked about Quest for Glory 5 says they enjoyed it, but I'm gonna have a difficult time believing that anything is gonna top Quest for Glory 4 in terms of both story and content, and even just the feel of it. Like, I think this game is absolutely beautiful, just like I thought Quest for Glory 3 was very, very beautiful as well. But this one is very, very well done. The characters and the accents really add so much to it. So, will be difficult to beat this game. Not beat the game, but beat it in terms of being a favorite. The game I've already beat. Just took a very long time to beat it. Alright, so we're back here with Leshy now. And this time he's not doing the come chase me thing, where he would just go around the different bushes. So I was going to try to be tricky and try to click the other bushes before I went to him. 1 and 2 is 3, makes 6. Who hides the hut behind the trick sticks? Magic message, bushes here. End the rhyme with disappear. So there we go. There is our other hint about the bushes. So we already learned a little bit of this from the gypsy, and we're going to make a wild guess because I am already pretty sure I know who it is, but we apparently don't have enough information. There was probably someone else we could have talked to, and I believe that person is the gnome. The gnome will actually provide who is behind those bushes, and had we gone to the gnome first, we would have gotten the individual's name that we needed to guess. And just as a spoiler alert, someone who came back with dark magic is none other than Baba Yaga. So I may have just spoiled it for you, but Baba Yaga from the first Quest for Glory does make her return. And now the Burgermeister is like, Nikolai's disappeared from his home. The last time we saw him, he said something about finding Anna. I fear he is dead. Well, you're right. He hasn't been seen for some time. He seemed happy the last time I saw him. He really thought he was going to go see Anna. Perhaps he did. And there was once again rumors surfacing about werewolves once Nikolai disappeared, but the Burgermeister put a stop to it. So the Burgermeister seems like a pretty sensible guy out of the entire village. Everyone else is the typical, fear everything. So we tell him about Anna's ghost and Nikolai. So that's why he was excited about Anna. he has gone for her, I guess. Maybe they'll be together again. It's nice to believe so. And so, you can pretty much reassure him that, yeah. Now they met a sad but happy ending. So if you recall, the ghost said that, hey, go speak with Olga. She knows a lot of information. She's pretty deep in the in the rumor mill, which is funny because later on at the end of the game, she will talk about spreading rumors is such a bad thing. But she is literally the information rumor mill. My sad departed husband, his name was Boris. Gone 3 years now. He was such a good man. So you can ask her about rumors and everything opens up. So you learn that Bella is the one who truly runs the inn. Her husband just gives orders. And someday she'll give Yuri a piece of her mind, Yuri being the husband. She was a pretty woman long ago, wasn't called Bella for nothing. Losing her only child really aged her. What a tragedy. So now we have new information. So now we know there's a missing child. More than likely we're going to have to do something about that. And spoiler alert, yes, we are going to have to do something about the missing child. And so she knows that some strangers moved into the castle about 4 years ago. Werewolves are gypsies, no question about it. They change into wolves at night, eating anyone they can get. So she's incorrect about that, but whatever. And so she's still convinced that they're out there. And it's a shame that you can't explain, hey, he was there just getting corn. And so when you ask about the old man, Nikolai, she says maybe they're together again. If you ask about the monastery, that's a bad place. She'll have nothing to do with it. It's dangerous and should have been torn down long ago. So you can see after you ask about the rumors, a number of them clear out as they're like a one-time thing to find out from her. And so previously when I was walking and said you're out of rations, you better get some food soon, so I am going to stock up on a bunch of rations. It's interesting that, first, we're going to tell Olga that the gatekeeper's name is Boristovich. So that's where this so-and-so went. Tell him he's a rotten, no good Nick. So what I was going to say is it's interesting that for someone who believes in werewolves and the vampires and all of that, she also surrounds herself with black cats, which are typically superstitious to be omens of ill fortune. So that is interesting that she fears that. And I wonder if they just put black cats in there somewhere just because to build up that suspense of, their ill omen type things. This is a dark setting. But you figured the last place you'd see a black cat is in Olga's shop, because that woman seems pretty paranoid of everything and everyone. And she says she doesn't want to go to your funeral, pretty much because she doesn't like walking to the cemetery. Not so much that you might die. We're gonna head into the Adventure Guild. Do a little bit of leg day. We'll ask Igor if he's heard any rumors that he's seen a very pretty woman standing near the gate. She looks like she's looking for someone. Igor go up to pretty woman, say, "Hey, baby, want to lot my pyre?" It's a little graveyard humor there. But she doesn't have a sense of humor, and she gave Igor the cold shoulder and walked off. So we know that the last of them, the location of his body is unknown. And I can't recall if anything ever comes of that. Because I don't want to spoil the very ending yet, but it's interesting that I don't recall anything coming of the final Borgov, no one knowing where he's at. So we're going to go ahead and fast forward. There's the hawk. There's the hawk. There's the hawk. Literally 3 screens in a row that hawk showed up. Anyway, fast forwarding. So now there's there's little light things. And And we were told that from the gypsies that they are the spirits of children. So we have candy that we purchased from the shopkeeper, and we put the candy on the floor, which drew them to us. So from there, at the time, wasn't sure what was next. Like, if they eat the candy, do they tell us something? What the deal is? Do we put them in a shopping bag? Or better yet, do we put them in a bottle? Because it feels like you could use them as like a light source, like fireflies. And we capture them in the flask. So, not entirely sure what to do with that just yet. But, two things. Even though the gypsies told us that these are the spirits of children, what you don't want to do is let them suffocate. So there is X amount of time that you have to keep these quote-unquote fireflies, or I believe they're technically, probably in Mordavia, they're probably known as will-o-wisps, or will-of-the-wisps. Because that is more of a lure where there are spirits that are beams of light that try to lure you into the swamp and basically lure you to your death. They are also in D&D. They're a common monster in D&D. So I assume that is probably what they are. I can't remember if I looked at them and it told me that they were will-o-wisps, or if they are something else. So I'm pretty sure something has to go down with this temple with the thing on the top, and I'm pretty sure the Dark One symbol has something to do with it. Trying to get a grappling hook to see if we pull that down or what the key to it is. Offered some bones. Nope, that's not it. So using the spirits of the fireflies, they do call it the will-o-wisp. Near the standing stone, glowing runes appear around the six-pointed image. In the center of the runes, you can now see a small hole in the stone. An image, or the sign of the Dark One, has appeared on the squid stone. Well, we have the Dark One's image thing. This thing gets used so often. When you touch Dark One's sign to the image of the squid stone, the sign locks into place in the small hole. The points of the sign seem to point to a 6 of the glowing runes. So if you remember, there was that thing on the wall that spelled out Rulsuka, or however you want to pronounce it. But now we know the actual order in which to spell the Rulsuka. Kind of looks like a 3, not a Z. And as we complete the name of the Dark One, you feel a distant rumble under the earth, as the earth shifting of some unimaginable huge creature stirring in its sleep. But also, a little compartment opens up. And we find a scroll with mysterious runes. Now, if you remember, I think there were 5 different rituals that we need to go around and find. So we just found another one. And naturally, we remove the Dark One symbol and take that with us because we use that so often. Can't remember what I was trying to imply there with that save game name. Shiver of cold washes over you. You sense no danger, but even so, you find yourself afraid. We can guess the old spirit is back. I was the Paladin Piotr, and my pride was too great. He goes on to describe how he tried to drive back the darkness. He watched all his friends and comrades die because of it. At last, in desperation, I called upon the mage Arana. She held back the darkness, but was herself trapped. Whoops. In sorrow, I brought her staff to this place, that it might protect the town and preserve her memory. I sought to free Arana's spirit, and so began my quest for the dark rituals, which is the same quest we're now currently on. I loved a woman, but left her to seek the ritual of the heart. The wraith defeated me, and I lost all: Arana, the woman I loved, and my life. So I remember that wraith that was siphoning my energy even before combat started when I walked into the room. Take my sword to my grandson Dimitri. But anyway, the wraith who defeated me the first time, and then like the second time he was just draining my health even before the fight started, and I forgot to loot it. Yeah, I need to make my way back there because there's something there I need. And so we learn, here's the guys that talk about, oh, so, yeah, the werewolf didn't kill Igor after all. Lucky for Igor, the stranger happened to wander by before Igor starved to death. Someone on a forum said one of these lines is incorrect, and I think it's at this part. It might be on a previous part. Still think a gypsy's a werewolf. Which is technically right and wrong. He's not really a werewolf. Lucky for you, he came along, saved Igor. Otherwise, poor Igor would be dead. Well, at least he had a decent burial. And then, did you hear about the gravedigger return to the town unharmed? Did you know that the gypsy has been released? Were you aware that the rumor that it saved both Igor and the gypsy? So it might have been elsewhere where there's an incorrect line of dialogue. Might have been on a previous version. Or a previous, either part 1 or part 2 when I talked to them. But they're supposed to say something, and instead they say incorrect line that was for someone else. So it's kind of nice that everyone starts talking about how prior to Igor's disappearance, they kind of took him for granted. They thought he was weird, didn't really do much for him, but once he had disappeared, they all realized how much they missed him. So it was kind of cool. And then he even says that he's happy that the gypsy was freed and released, rather than actually burning him at the stake, as they were gonna do if the hero had not proven that Igor was actually very much still alive. Once again, the Joker, if you knock on his door, he has a little buzzer, and you can see it does take off some of your health when you touch that door. And he says it's a burglar alarm. Now, it would have been cool if he said it was a burglar alarm because he had heard something moving around at midnight. Because there is something in the inn, and it's only by pure chance that I got up at midnight and had walked out and saw something different. So it would have been cool if he would have said, hey, I put that burglar there because I heard something moving around at midnight, to let you know maybe at midnight you should get up and look around the inn, because there is definitely something in the inn that, had I not gotten up, it would have been very easy for me to miss, and I do not know how that would have impacted the story. So now he says he's vexed by a hex, so to speak. So I ask him about the curse. Pathetic, ain't it? He kicked me out of the teeth. Ever since Baba Yaga was mad at me, I made a bad joke. So guaranteed, at the bushes, or at Leshy, had we talked to him first about Baba Yaga, we would have probably been able to guess Baba Yaga's name. So he explains he accidentally insulted her. She stood up, said some quote-unquote bad poetry, and ever since then his humor has been gone. So now we know Baba Yaga, as I said, is in the area. Sorry if I spoiled that a little sooner in this commentary, but I knew it was coming up because I remembered talking to the jester about Baba Yaga, and that Leshy, or however you pronounce that plant's name, his guess that you needed to require was the name of Baba Yaga. So I did it out of order. I should have come here, talked to the gnome first, gotten Baba Yaga's name to know that she was in the area, then go back to Leshy, guessed his riddle about Baba Yaga, and then I could have probably just gone to the plant and used the command line to make the plants move. But we'll get there eventually. Everything will happen, still fall into place. We're still going after Baba Yaga. We've gotten enough information now to know. Even though we didn't get Leshy's riddle, we're still able to do what we need to do. So as you tell him about yourself and tell him about your adventure in Spielberg and your encounter with Baba Yaga, he blames you for losing his sense of humor because apparently he made a joke and it had something to do with her defeat at the hero's hands. As always with every Sierra game, you should check on everything that isn't nailed down, and if it is nailed down, check your inventory for a hammer to see if you can pry it loose. So I was just clicking on everything in the gnome's room to see if there was anything that we could pick up, and indeed there is. There is a rubber duck. I saved the game. Freaking knew it was her. So when it talked about the bushes with Leshy, I was pretty confident it was Baba Yaga. So we're going to sit down, get our free meal from the inn, from the innkeeper's wife. Tonight your dinner pleasure is the traditional Moldavian chicken Papa Crush. I don't even know how to pronounce that word. But I'm sure it has garlic in it. She's a sturdy but not unattractive woman. So So when you ask about the staff, she talks about how her mother used to go there for comfort, and that she too has gone to the staff for comfort. And that her grandmother used to say that it was from the mage Arana, and that it was Arana's final gift to Mordavia. And she even suggests perhaps you should visit there at night and have some pleasant dreams. Well, unfortunately for the hero, he does not have pleasant dreams. And then we learn that Arana is a part of the fairy folk, or at least that's what the grandmother used to say, and she was of unearthly beauty. And she brought kindness and magic wherever she went, which we know that much is true. We don't know about the fairy folk part, but not yet. And then she talks about somewhere in the forest lies Arana's garden. My grandmother used to visit there sometimes before the woods became too dangerous to travel in. So right there, she's providing a lot of information. I should have talked to her much, much sooner to get this information to know about all these different locations. And she talks about how her grandmother said that the garden is beautiful and is filled with happiness, and then how she wished she could visit. And her husband, Yuri, is like, no, Bella, it's too dangerous to go outside. And she says, I know. Someday I'd like to go there and see. Well, it's up to the hero to make these forests safe again, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to fail a few times. Spoiler alert for the ending in the 5th commentary that I'll eventually get to. There is a lot of death on the hero's behalf. Some of it I feel like is like a timing bug issue, because there was a few times where I clicked on something that I think was the right action. It seems to be the right action. Even was the right action later, but something weird, glitchy happened. So we'll get to all of that, where you see my demise happen like 10 times. And then she says that she used to see the Dumave when she was a child. I'd sneak down from the bedroom in the middle of the night, so there we go, to look for him. He was always hiding somewhere downstairs and would laugh when I found him. So at least she is providing a clue about the Dumave. I believe that's how they're pronounced. So again, I should have talked to her much sooner to get all of this information to be able to gather all of this. So now we have information about the Dumave appears in the middle of the night, so. And so Bella shows sincere caring for you, telling you to be careful, and Yuri, her husband's like, stop pampering him. And she literally says, I just want him to be okay, because I know he does a bunch of dangerous things. And so she talks about most of the men we've met. Their wives work hard this time of year, canning all the vegetables from the fall harvest and making new clothes and blankets to provide for winter. So that's why we don't see any of the 3 guys' wives, or even if the Burgermeister is married, we don't see his wife, because apparently they're all busy. So when you talk about yourself, he says, oh, you've done quite a bit for Mordavia. It's a good thing you came here. We never knew there was that many things to do here. He's by far my favorite. And now when we say goodbye, they all wave in response. So we're going to head out for the night. The innkeeper, Yuri, talks about how he locks it up pretty much at night because it's very dangerous. Even though the staff of Arana is outside, it's unusual that he locks it up, because you figure the staff is there to protect everything. So the stone carvings on the dark building seem to writhe in the moonlight. You get a feeling that they're alive or something. A sense of great danger and hunger comes from it. Yeah, well, we already know that the thing above the door will eat us if we do not do the Dark One symbol first. But first, let's do a little leg day workout. We're just about done for this version of the commentary. So please, if you enjoy what I've done, please click like and subscribe. I am trying to, as the intro, the custom intro I made explains, I am trying to hit 1,000 subscribers so that I can basically try to see if I can make at least a little bit of profit off this channel. These videos take a lot of time, the editing and all that fun stuff, but I do enjoy doing it. So even if I don't ever reach 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to still keep doing this because I actually have really enjoyed replaying these Sierra games. So once again, if you enjoy it, like and subscribe, or you don't have to. Until next time, we'll see you in part 4.